Spruce top season is here. We've got everything you need to make your containers stand out this season. We have a few kits available for you. We also have greens available by the bundle. If you buy a Spruce top kit, you're gonna get enough greens to make one whole pot. If you buy a bundle of 10 Spruce tops, that's usually enough to make 2 pots. Right now I'm gonna demonstrate how to do one of our kits. So we always wanna start with the tools that we need. So you're gonna need a pair of good pruners, some wire cutters, and a pair of good gloves. In your kit, you're gonna get spruce tops, which are these. You're gonna get a Norway pine bough, which is the one with the bumpier stems. You're gonna get white pine, which is kind of soft, and then you're gonna get cedar. And then if you choose one of the kits that has decorations, you're also gonna get the decorations that come in that kit. You're gonna get a pot with soil. One thing you wanna decide first is if your container is going to be front facing, so maybe along right in front of your front door, or if it's gonna be viewed from all sides, so something on your patio or on your sidewalk leading up to your house. The example that I'm gonna do is gonna be front facing, so that's gonna determine where your height is. So if it's a front facing one, you're gonna have your height towards the back. If it's viewed from all angles, you're gonna want your height more in the center. So I know that this is my tallest one, so I'm gonna start with that. You're gonna use your pruners and cut off some of the bottom branches so you can get it stuck into the soil a good 3 to 4 inches. You wanna make sure that it's nice and strong in there. So I'm gonna put my height towards the back, and I'll turn this around so you guys can see as well. Kind of fluff it out, make sure that they're all not too tight together. And then from there, you're just gonna start filling in around. You always wanna start with the spruce top. So again, I'm gonna cut off some of the bottom branches so I can get it nice and stuck in there. And your spruce tops, you always want to stick in straight up and down. Don't worry about any open spaces. We're gonna fill that in with our other mixed greens. Always make sure that these are firmly straight up and down in your pot. And as we're adding these, don't overthink it. You might think it's not coming together. I promise you that it will, especially once we start adding those other greens. You're gonna see how it all just kind of comes together. If you have one that is really tight together, you can kind of take it and pound it on the ground or on your work surface, just to kind of fluff it out a bit. Save some of those bottom branches. We'll tuck those in later, so nothing really goes to waste here. We'll want to use all those little pieces that we cut off. So you're gonna have 5 spruce tops. So you can kind of think about that as you're filling in. I kind of usually do one at noon, 3, 6, and 9, and then one like kind of in the center. And again, that height depends on if it's front facing or if it's viewed from all angles. So I've got the last one here. If you feel like it's maybe too long or too tall to go where you're going, you can always just cut it off with your pruner. So, right to do that. Okay, so we've got our spruce tops in. I'm just gonna make sure that they're nicely tucked in. And I'm gonna use some of these little extra pieces, and I'm just gonna kind of fill in some of the holes here. So these are just the bottom branches that I cut off previously. And so it's already starting to look nice and full. I think that's good. So the next green that we're going to work with is the Norway pine. So you get one whole bough with this. You're not gonna just stick the whole thing in there. We're actually gonna cut this up into multiple pieces. So I'm gonna just cut right here. And so this guy is nice and long. I'm gonna take him and I'm just gonna stick it right down into the center. Make sure that it makes contact with the soil so it stays in there. Once you're done with your spruce top, you're gonna water it in and then you're gonna let it freeze. And that will help keep everything fresh and in place for the whole season. So what's awesome about these is that they actually will look good for you until temperatures start to get warm again in, as you know, here maybe March. So just keep cutting those little pieces off, and I'm gonna turn this around so you can kind of see too where I'm setting all these. You can kind of do some off to the side too if you want. There's really no wrong way to do this. As long as it's getting stuck into the soil well, it's gonna work. Just a couple more of the Norway. So all of our greens are actually sustainably harvested from Minnesota, which is kind of cool. Minnesota greens. All right, and I'm just gonna leave that, I'm gonna discard that. The next green you're gonna work with is the white pine. So similar concept here to the Norway pine, but you might wanna leave, 3 or 4 of those little branches together just to create different texture, different heights. Just have to see it here. You can, if you have a really long one, you can go ahead and stick the whole thing in if you want. Again, there's no wrong way. You'll see it start to come together the more things that you add. Some more white pine. So all of these greens are available individually as well as in the kit. So you can they come in a bundle. So you don't have to buy them in the kit, but you can certainly do that as well. It's an easy way just to get a little mixture of everything. I'm gonna add just a couple more of these white pine, and then I might move on to the cedar. The cedar is one of my favorites. I just like its light, feathery texture. It's just different than everything else. So what we like to do with the cedar is, again, you're not going to just stick the whole thing in there, although you could if you really wanted to. What we like to do is cut off, maybe kind of cut it in half, and I'm going to use both of these pieces. So we kind of call it the ponytail method. So you'd make a nice little ponytail, and then we're going to stick this into the soil so it's nice and bunched together. These are fun to kind of throw in the front as they're kind of floppy. And then this is the other half of that one, so I'm going to do the ponytail thing with that as well. And I think I'll just stick it right over here. So kind of keep going with that. If you have some longer pieces, those would be good ones to stick down into the center. Just always make sure you're making good contact with the soil. If you're using your own container and you have soil in there left over from the summertime, that is perfectly good to just reuse. These aren't going to root out or need to grow or anything like that, so it's just really just a medium to hold everything together. If you have an empty pot that you're looking to fill, topsoil is what we use, like in these. Otherwise, if you don't want to empty it out and fill it with good soil in the springtime, you can fill it with regular potting soil, and it'll be good to go in the spring as well. So whichever medium fits your needs. If you're buying a kit, it does come with the pot and soil. If you don't need that, just let us know in the notes and we won't include it. We just thought we would give that option to people who want to use the disposable pot. These are nice because you can just set them in your decorative container, or they look fine on the doorstep as well. Okay, so I think I am ready to move on to the decoration. So we have 5 different options for decorations. This one is kind of our rose gold theme, which I really like. You're gonna wanna pay attention to the decorations that you have if they have a wire in the pick, because you won't wanna use your nice pruners on those. That's a good way to dull your pruners really fast. So I know that these ones have a wire, but I'm actually just gonna wire them on, and I'll talk about wiring in a minute. So I like to start with the height. So my height here is some painted birch, the rose gold. So you wanna get everything separated to see kind of what you're working with. You can leave them at this height, but you might want to vary the heights and make them shorter. Don't trim from the top, always trim from the bottom. Use your pruner. This is natural, these are real birch, so it's just wood. You can use your pruner on that. And again, my height's in the back, so I'm gonna kind of stick to that theme when I'm adding my decorations. And some of these are good to keep from year to year too. Sometimes more of the natural stuff might become brittle more quickly than the artificials, but definitely worth keeping in mind when you take it down in the springtime that you might want to hang on to these for next year. And sometimes that's why people choose to do, you know, more of a winter theme versus Christmas, just because they do really last you throughout the whole winter. So this one kind of has a Y. I think I'm gonna try breaking it off, and I'll kind of get 2 pieces out of this one and stick this one, since it's shorter, maybe a little bit more towards the center. Again, there's really no wrong way to do it. Okay, so what else we have is some kind of rose gold artificial baby's breath, and then these are vine balls, we call them, or root balls. I usually like to stick, these look great in 3s, I think, and I like them kind of clumped together in the front, and then kind of use your other accessory as like a little accent around. I think I'm just gonna try that. I'm gonna put these in first, and then these ones are not wired, so we should be okay. If you're not sure if it's wired or not, just kind of bend it. If it just snaps, then it's more than likely a natural stick. If it bends, it's a wire. So I kind of do 1 high and 2 low. But again, you can stick them all over the place, keep them as long as you want. And then some of the kits include things that have wire on them versus sticking it into the soil. Good rule of thumb is to wire this to something sturdy. I like to wire it to the spruce tops. You don't want to wire to something like the white pine or the cedar, because it's just not going to hold the weight of the decoration. So I'm going to go on to this spruce top right here, and I think I'm just going to sprinkle these kind of all over. That'd be cute. And it's not too tricky, other than you want to just get it onto something sturdy. And then I'm going to put this one in the back. And there you go. And then I just kind of want to show you the other options that we have, and we've done up some other examples with the kits. So this is another gold sparkly kit. So you can kind of see how I did the same little 3 with the pods there and stuck the birch around. Use the spray kind of as a background there. This one is more kind of your traditional with the berries and the pine cones, which I love. Some glittery ting ting, we call this, and some natural birch sticks. So one thing to note with this one is that when we did this one, so this is 1 pick, this berry, and we actually used a wire cutter to cut off different pieces to get it in different areas. So nothing wrong with just sticking this whole thing in there, but you might, something to think about when you have a piece like this, that you might want to cut it apart and spread it out throughout the container. This one is a nice natural toned one with the white washed vine balls and the lotus pods and some natural birch sticks. The vine balls are on wires, so keep that in mind. And then this is another nice one with the blush eucalyptus seeds, wired on vine balls. Everything comes nice and bundled like this for you. So if you have any questions, feel free to shoot us a message on our online store or on Facebook, and we'll be happy to help.